All right, so we have left the barn and we're starting around the farm.
Yeah, this is Tina, and her pasture mate is Pensacola Pete, who is a standard donkey, and he was named that way because he was rescued in Pensacola, Florida. He was abandoned, found walking down the road with 3 other donkeys.
Jeez.
And he was also intact, and we found out that he was going to be put up for auction, so some friends of ours down there got him and sent him up here to us. And he's probably one of the funniest animals here. He has very unusual vocal qualities. I'm not sure he's going to go into one of his unique brays, but if he does, you'll know it's him. It sounds like a foghorn of ships coming into the harbor. This is Tina. We don't even know what breed she is. She's blind in her left eye, and that's because she was the product of a backyard breeder who was just breeding horses for whatever reason, we don't know. Her mother died giving birth to her, so she got no colostrum, and then she was put into a field with bigger horses who one of them kicked her in the head, and she lost the sight in her left eye. But her right eye is perfect. So these two get along well. They're both pretty young, and they're both about the same size. And Pete is very intuitive about her disability and her lack of sight. He's just, donkeys are very smart.
They're so
anyway.
smart, yeah.
So these two they're great together, and they're also very funny. Tina is great for him too because she likes to run, and he doesn't. He's practically immobile. So she gets him moving, which is a good thing, even though he's younger than she is.
Yeah.
So we call this the odd couple. We name all of our pastures with memorable names, not just for the public, but because we can say to each other, the staff, or we're over with the odd couple, or we're with Born to Be Wild, or we're with the guys after the finish line. We have all these different names for the different pastures. This is Jake. This is one of the most bizarre stories and sad stories, which is now a happy ending because he's here. Jake lived the first 9 years of his life in a stall, locked in a stall. It's a miracle that he's not a cribber, but what he did do is he would bite the walls of this makeshift stall that he was living in. Never saw the sun, never saw another animal. And the sad part is that he has no idea what it's like to be with other equines. We have no idea when he was weaned, so he might have been weaned very early as well. So when we got him, it was a real challenge to deal with him because he was biting, as that was the only way he could express himself when he was locked in. We found out about him from a woman who lives up in Steuben County, and she happened to be on that property and heard him and saw his feet were like this long, never trimmed. And so she asked, she didn't know anything about horses or donkeys, and so she looked on the internet and saw that his feet were abnormally long. So she offered to pay for a farrier. So that happened, but then she started to learn about horses and realized that this guy was going to die there.
Right.
So it took her 2 years to get him away from this person. And she picked up the phone and called us because she wanted a sanctuary where he was going to remain here, not a place where he would be adopted, because he would not have been a good candidate for adoption given all of his behavioral issues.
Right.
So he's been here. We've tried to introduce him to other donkeys, other horses. It doesn't work, not yet, but we haven't given up hope. He's very smart, and so he sees all of his neighbors. He talks to Pete and Tina. He talks to the girls behind him, to the girls, to the horses to the right of him. So we're hoping that he kind of realizes that he should have a friend. And what we'll probably do is find an older donkey, maybe around his size or a little bigger, who's had babies. Maybe she'd see him as a big baby. I don't know. It's just that he needs to behave. We don't want anybody getting hurt. And also, if we bring an animal like that in here, we have to have a plan B in the event that it doesn't work out. Where will we put that particular animal? So that's the challenge, but he's doing okay. I mean, this is you know, it's a nice
Yeah, I mean
little
he's
apartment
amongst
he's got.
yeah, he's amongst other horses, but he's not
Yeah,
with
I
them.
mean,
So
you know, we hate
yeah.
we don't, you know, have horses by themselves. It's not natural for them to be by themselves, but for him, that's all he ever knew. So he tries to fight with everybody. You know that big draft that you just saw in the
Yeah.
barn? He attacked him and drew blood.
Jeez.
So he's
Yeah.
pugilistic.
Yeah.
But, you know, over time, I'm hoping that he will, you know, get the idea that maybe he should have a friend.